Hey everyone, so today I'm going to be talking about face makeup, and I'm going to give you guys just some tips on what kind of face makeup you should use for your skin type, and just some like brush application tips type thing. I feel like I always am focused on eye makeup. I mean, eye makeup is kind of the main focus for most people when it comes to makeup, but I feel like face makeup is never addressed enough, and I really think that it should be because unblended foundation lines, unblended bronzer lines, cheekbones just have too much blush, too harsh cheekbones, there are just so many things that need to be addressed, and I don't know if I'll get to everything in this video, but I'm going to get to a lot. So first, let's start with concealers. So if you have really oily skin, I recommend using a cream or stick concealer. This is just the stick creamy concealer that I have, but you can get one that's like in a little pot form and is still like creamy concealer, just because I feel like if you use a liquid concealer, that'll kind of add to the oil in your skin and can slide around really easily, but stick will stay put more. So if you have really dry skin, then you can probably guess that you should use a liquid concealer, because it'll help add moisture to your your skin, not your face, to your skin, and it won't slip and slide around because your skin's already dry. And that is my window reflecting the little shadows on my face. So sorry about that. Okay, foundation. Oh, and sorry, one more thing. For concealer, always use a concealer brush to apply it. This is just from Ulta. It's the Ulta Professional brand. But always use a concealer brush, because if you use your finger, I learned this a while back, you're ending up putting the product on your finger and rubbing it off, but a brush will help actually apply it on there and keep it in place. Moving on to foundation. So if you have a really oily skin, I recommend definitely using a cream foundation. This foundation is just the one I have. This is the Dream Matte Mousse Maybelline Honey Beige Foundation in medium number 4, which I know looks super dark, but this stuff blends so easily, and I only use this in the summer, because during the summer my skin gets like really, really oily. And yeah, so this is just really easy to blend, and my skin usually is tan then anyways, so yeah, I definitely recommend using that, because if you use a liquid, it'll add more, if you use a liquid, it'll add more oils to your face, not oils. Do you know what I mean? It'll make your face appear more oily, and you don't want that, because that's not good. So during the winter, my skin gets extremely dry, and that's why I'm using the liquid foundation. But if you have really dry skin, then definitely use a liquid foundation, so that way it'll add moisture to your skin. And yeah, and then to apply foundation, okay, for me, I just like to use a foundation brush. But there are several different ways you can apply foundation. There's no like straight up right way, especially because so many formulas, they work differently. Some apply smoother than others. Yeah, so I use a foundation brush, and then I just take a blending sponge to just blend out any of the harsh edges, anything that I couldn't really get blended with my foundation brush, and I just kind of smooth it all in. So that's how I do it. Another method I like to use is to just pour this onto my fingertips that already has some of my moisturizer on it, and then just blend it together and just use my hands to apply it. That's a really quick and easy way to do it. For a while, I was just using a sponge, and that works alright. I mean, it's not, in my opinion, the best, but it works alright. I don't have a stippling brush with me, but a stippling brush definitely is one of the best ways too, because I don't think you really would need to use a sponge after using a stippling brush. You can just use it to just apply it all over your face. So yeah, but some recommendations for applying the foundation. Okay, next, powder. So I'm going to kind of stay on the basis of oily skin, dry skin, and now I'm going to kind of go into like what if you have combination skin, because to go along with powder. Honestly, I think if you are someone who has extremely dry skin, I feel like you can get away with just using a liquid foundation. And if you feel like, well, I have dry skin all over except for like the T-zone, you can just take a loose powder and then just kind of focus on this area of your face, and then take the powder and just dust it over really lightly the rest of your face. Because if you don't wear foundation and you have really dry skin, you don't have to, but I just feel like if you use a lot of powder, it'll just kind of add to the dryness and kind of give you more of like a cakey look. And that's not, I mean, unless you like that, I don't think that's very attractive or whatever. I don't think that's a good look, so that's just my opinion. But if you're someone who has really oily skin, then you can wear your foundation, and then I definitely recommend using a pressed powder. This is my Benefit Hello Flawless Pressed Powder. Just because this will definitely help tame, it's more powerful than a loose powder, and it'll tame the oils down in your skin and prevent you from looking shiny. So, yeah. And then if you have a combination skin, that kind of goes along with what I said about how if your face is super dry but it gets kind of oily like right here, then you can just dust it there. If it's the other way around where, no, it wouldn't be. No. Do any of you have skin? I thought of it and then I said it out loud and I was like, no. Do any of you have skin where this is all oily and then it's dry right here? If you do, comment below and let me know. But I don't, and I'm not trying to make fun of you if you do. I'm just saying I never heard of that before, so I don't think that actually happens. I don't know, whatever. So never mind, just forget about that. Alright, and then application when it comes to powder. Please, 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 unless you're in a huge rush, don't ever use one of these. Oh dear God. These little guys are the makeup sponges that come with most pressed powders. Obviously this didn't come with this one. Well, it could have. But, see, with this one you can just, the top part opens up. And then it comes with one of its own little sponges right here. But oh dear God, please do not, because this, I feel like if you use it, it definitely gives you an extremely cakey look, and look how nasty it is. I mean, it has picked up so much bacteria that it's not even funny. I don't use this is my mom's, but I don't know I don't know if she uses it to blend now or something, or if she just uses it for her powder. Whatever. Either way, I don't think these are great because they collect so much bacteria, and if you don't wash them, then you're just putting that bacteria back on your face, and it's bad. I feel like the ones like these that come with brushes like this is actually alright. This isn't too bad, and because it fans out and like really easily, you know, it's not like I'm gonna come to this when we get to blush. I'll come to this, but this doesn't really fan out as easily. But this can disperse much easier. Sorry, I keep saying the word easy. But this is really nice. You shake this and put it in here, and then you just dust it all over your face. And this is actually alright. This is not a big deal. But honestly, I always recommend buying separate brushes and not using the ones that the products come with, unless like you're traveling somewhere and it's just easier not to bring the extra brushes. I mean, that's understandable. That's fine. But I recommend just using a powder brush if you have, like, this would be a good one if you have dry skin and you're just trying to lightly disperse it. But if you're someone who has oily skin and you need to kind of compact it more, I recommend using one of these to just get it on a lot easier. And combination skin, one of these babies. Alright, let's move on to bronzer. Okay, this was my very first bronzer. No, it wasn't. This was my very first bronzer of all time. It's the 405 Translucent Fair CoverGirl True Blend Loose Powder Bronzer. So it looks like this. And then it comes with this little puff. Once again, no. And I used to, yeah, when I was younger. And I might have used it in my Taylor Swift makeup tutorial. Oh my God, it'd be so funny if I did. I don't think I did. Oh, I think it, ow! That was like my second video, almost like a year ago. Oh, that's so funny. But no, I don't recommend using this now. Anyways, this has a little bit of shimmer in it, but not a ton. And this wasn't like a amazing bronzer for a long time. I haven't used it in ages because there's just a little left, so I'm trying to like savor it. But no, this was actually a really good bronzer. I should go get another one because this is really good. So yeah, I'm giving a review on this now. I need to stay on topic, Lucy. Okay. If you're someone who has oily skin, definitely use a matte bronzer. But if you love having a little bit of shimmer, this would be a good one, just because it does have a little tiny bit of shimmer, but not enough to kind of make this section more oily and just, illuminate that or anything. So that's good. But anyways, I used to, this was my second bronzer, right? So I used this for a little bit, and then I got this one. And this one had a ton. This is, Eyes, Lips, and Face Sun-Kissed Golden Bronzer, which you guys see me use all the time. And I didn't realize that to apply a shimmering bronzer, you're supposed to take a brush like this or one like this, and you're supposed to just kind of lightly dust it on. So I would take, like, this brush or, like, this brush, and there we go, this one, and I would just put it all over, and I ended up looking really oily. I did it in several tutorials, and I'm so embarrassed that I did, but, yeah, I would just, like, cake it on there, and I just would look really oily by the end of the day, because the shimmer was just too much for my skin. Because like I said, during the summer I get especially oily skin, and that's when I was using it all the time, and this would just look so, and then I was kind of getting tired of how it looks. I was starting to realize that it wasn't very good. So then I went to Target, and I got this e.l.f. Golden Bronzer. This is in golden, that's just what it says. And it looks like this, and then basically you just take, like, one of these brushes and just, like, swirl it all together and then dust it all over your face. But this, I know that it kind of looks matte on, actually no it doesn't. Well, yeah, it looks a little bit matte on screen, but really this is very shimmery. So it was kind of doing the same thing, and I was getting just so stressed at this point, because I was like, summer's almost over, and I'm almost completely out of this, and what am I going to do? So then in September, I got this bronzer by Essence, and it says compact powder on it, but you guys be the judge. I mean, look at this. This looks like bronzer to me. So I got this, and this is a matte bronzer with just a little bit of shimmer. It's basically, so this is like loose, and then this is like the pressed version of this, basically. I mean, they're not from the same brand or anything. That's how I look at it, though. So yeah, shimmering bronzer, for someone who you love it, so just take like a powder brush and then just kind of dust it lightly into like a, like, I'm trying to think of, because it depends on like which way we're facing each other, kind of like a 3 shape. That's good. That is a 3, okay. So like a 3, and then this would be like an E, I guess, just in that type of shape. And then, so that way it doesn't get too oily right here. And think, oh, dropped the brush. And then but matte bronzer, I feel like, can be put on a little bit heavier, and you can just dust it over. But always make sure to blend it down to your neck. And now, if you're someone who you are just, like, extremely pale, like, you are Edward Cullen, but you really want to wear bronzer, and I feel like if you're someone who's that's a little too pale. But I mean, if you're really pale, but you want to wear bronzer and you want to look tan, don't just blend it down to your neck and then just be like, oh, okay, now I'm cool to go outside. Because then you'll have a kind of a line like on your collarbone area down to your chest. And if it's in the summer and you're wearing short sleeves, everyone can see the rest of your arms and how they're all pale, and then you're just gonna look really weird. So if you have really pale skin, I recommend like in like April or May or something, because for some people the summer for them starts like in spring, but it rains like all spring where I live. So summer doesn't really start for me until like later. More like end of June, if that. So yeah, just get a gradual tanner, because if you use like a self tanner that immediately tans you and you're like super pale, you could end up looking orange, and that's not good. So use a gradual tanner, so it will gradually make your entire body tanner. So then you can use a bronzer and then blend it down to your neck, and then the rest of your body will be tan, and it'll all look good. So yeah, but shimmering bronzers, I don't know, they're not my favorite. So I think matte bronzers all the way to do it. But always, always, please blend it down, because nothing irritates me more when I see girls who have orange lines right there. Okay, let's move on to blush now because I am kind of freaking out just because it makes me cringe. Okay, so let's talk about blush shade before we go to blush formula. So I'm just taking my Nordstrom Deluxe Beauty Palette out right here. And I'm just using this because this has quite a few shades of blush in it. So it's what I'm goodness. So it's what I'm using to show you guys what to use. Okay, so first of all, I know that's a yellow and that's a blue. Those are like skin correctors. Those aren't blushes, so just don't pay attention to those. So if you're someone who has darker skin, like if you're Indian, African American, or Arabian, or I don't know every single culture in the world, and if I did, it would take a really long time to list it. But basically, if your skin tone basically is just darker, then I would recommend using a blush kind of in the mocha area, or a blush that has kind of mauve purple undertones to it, because it'll just complement your skin pretty well. If you have medium skin tone, you can pull off like that kind of color blush. But you could also even go for maybe like a light brown, but not too dark. And then if you have really pale skin, I definitely recommend using a very, very light blush for sure. So that's blush color in general. Those aren't just the only blushes out there. There's a ton. I'm just saying kind of in that color range area. Now for the like type of blush. So back to the oily skin thing we've been talking about throughout this entire oily skin, dry skin thing we're talking about this entire video. So this has shimmer in it, so ignore the fact that there's shimmer in it. With blush though, you can definitely get away with wearing a shimmering blush for sure. But for someone who has dry skin, for someone who has oily skin, I recommend using obviously a cream stick blush form, or like this. Like this is like also a cream blush. This is a Maybelline Dream Mousse blush number 25. So yeah, I definitely recommend using a cream or blush form, so that way it won't make your that way it'll add a little bit moisture to your dry skin. And then just like the powder blushes that I was showing you, if you have oily skin, definitely use a powder blush for sure. And then application, I like to use, if I'm contouring, it's called a powder brush, but I use it for contouring. I like to take, for example, this is a bronzer, but sometimes I use this as a blush duo, and I take the higher point of my brush and I put this on this side and then the other side on the bronzer, and then I'm not really doing it right now, and then I put it together. And then I put the lighter side on the higher point of my face and the darker side on the lower, and then I go like this, and then I just blend it all together, and then everything is contoured. So, for that application. And then, if you want to be more, like, right on spot, like the apples of your cheeks to be really pink, I recommend using a brush like this to just really get it on there, and then just kind of blend it out. Oh, and these two are meant to be blended through with your fingers, so keep that in mind. And then if you want to go for like really defined cheekbones, I recommend using a brush like this. So I'm sorry this video turned out to be so long. I had a lot to say, as you guys can probably tell, but I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you all next time. Bye!